Hello, what I've got here today are three deck lists that are unique and use some cards from Edge of Eternities. Now, Edge of Eternities is one of the most exciting sets in a very long time. The land bonus sheet, although it didn't contain any of the named cards, so sadly no Dark Depths and the like, it did contain quite a few cards that aren't named that are still going to see a lot of historic play, or at least are very interesting to build around and are powerful enough to build around. So that's exciting. The main set has some uniquely powerful cards as well, I figured. So yeah, let's just get straight into this. First deck I've got here is a 9 Mulch. Now there's something similar going on in Legacy, but the historic card pool is so different that this was basically, you basically had to build this from the ground up. Alright, so what cards are we going to have in a kind of 9 Mulch, 36 land type deck? Well, Burgeoning is an amazing card. People are underestimating this. This card will definitely see play. It is basically exploration for the purposes of this deck. It is awesome. We've also got Green Sun Zenith. Now, of note, Historic does not have Dryad Arbor, so this card is not even great, I don't think. But it can be good in certain decks. I think in big mana decks where the X is more of a suggestion, then this is really nice. 2 mana, you can get your ramp. For 4 mana, you can get this guy, 5 mana this guy, 7 mana this guy. Very exciting stuff. Alright, I've been saying the word mulch a lot. I've alluded to mulch. I've been talking as though you guys know what mulch is. If you don't know what mulch is, this card lets you reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all lands revealed this way into your hand, the rest into the graveyard. Okay, well, how do we make good use of this? Well, if our deck has a significantly high portion of lands, then mulch becomes a draw 2, draw 3, sometimes draw 4. And when it's a draw 3, draw 4, this card is insane. When it's a draw 2, this card is still very good. We've got almost the exact same effect in Winding Way, except for this one we could choose creature in a tight pinch. So if we have all the lands we could ever need, we can try to luck into one of our few good creatures. Treasure Hunt, one of reveal the top cards of your library until you reveal non-land. Then you put all cards revealed this way into your hand. Well, the odds are not too unlikely that we go land, 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 non-land. 2 mana, draw 4, amazing. Okay, how do we take advantage of all this card advantage, right? Because we're just getting lands to our hand, that's not too exciting. Well, we can Green Sun, as well as just naturally play Icetail Explorer. This is another new card from the set. It says, you may play additional land on each of your turns. You may play land cards from your graveyard. Whenever your land enters the battlefield, mill a card. All 3 lines of text are at least good. The top 2 are great. If we can play an extra land each turn, then that means that we can empty our hand twice as fast. Excellent. We've got Kami, Grazer, Green Sun for all of those to put them into play. Also, some of our lands are, well, spells. So we got 3 Viseiju, 1 Otawara. Those are spells we can do, so we can mulch into Otawara to remove a lethal attacker. That's cool, that's cool. Also, our lands do things that aren't just acting as spells. They can do things on the battlefield, and this brings us into some of our new cards. First card, Terrain Generator. We've got a sizable amount of basics, not too many, that's why I'm only running 1. But this can help us empty our hand from the Winding Way. The mana shouldn't be an issue, because we have so much mana, right? We've got a lot of ramp. We've also got Sunken Citadel, 3 Sunken Citadel. This is a very pivotal card to the deck. Not so pivotal that I want 4, because entering tap is a little bit clunky, but it's still very good nonetheless. So it'll let us use these activated abilities of lands for cheaper. That is important for a Shifting Woodland. Say, replay Luma, they kill it. No, you didn't. We've also got Mirror Pool, another new card. So what this lets us do is sacrifice integrated token of a copy of a creature we have on the battlefield. So if we have a Lumbra, we can copy Lumbra. It'll return all the lands that it mills plus Mirror Pool, so we kind of can keep recurring lands this way. We can also copy Slowgurk to return some lands from our graveyard to our hand. So Mirror Pool plus say Boseiju Otawara, so we can keep getting lands back that way. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Again, just a one of Labyrinth of Scophos. This is our Maze of Ith. Obviously a horrible Maze of Ith, but if we got Sunken Citadel, we're putting a bunch of lands into play, and mana isn't of concern, then yeah, it's Maze of Ith. Would be glad to have it. Well, we've got Ghost Quarter and 4 Field, 4 Demolition Field. These are great with Sunken Citadel. These plus Ghost Quarter are something to loop with the Ice Still Explorer or Slogurk or whatever with Lumra. If we can run our opponents out of basics, this is going to be an awesome late game engine for us. Gemstone Caverns, we're only running one because our curve kind of starts at one. We have a lot of 2-drops. It makes sense to play more because we're going to easily recoup the card advantage. I just don't think that turboing out these is all that of a concern. It could be right to play more. This will have to be done in testing. And then finally, we've got our Field of the Dead in quotation marks. Really what this is serving is just a land that's a win condition. Argoth is a win condition. We keep making bears every turn. It's nice that it mills. It has been not nice that it mills because you actually quickly mill through your deck if you're constantly going through it. I can see running the creature land, Lair of the Hydra. And with that, I believe that is this entire deck. Let's get on to the next one. Alright, Atog Affinity. You may notice that my profile picture is an Atog. That is because when I first started playing, I was a Commander player, and my favorite deck of all time by far was Atog Atog. I still love that deck, even though I don't really play Commander anymore. However, I still have an affinity for Atog, so here is Atog Affinity. Alright, what new cards are we playing? Pinnacle Emissary. So you can warp it for a blue or a red, and whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get a 1/1 drone artifact creature token with flying. That is kind of insane. As such, to enable this, we're playing 12 zeros. So 12 zeros plus Pinnacle Emissary, this is like, okay, you have a ton of artifacts on the battlefield, what is your plan with them? Well, if we're playing a whole bunch of zeros, we're playing the Pinnacle Emissary, we don't necessarily have too much room for interaction, which means we probably want to be a pretty fast deck. That is where Ravenous Intruder and Kappa Cannoneer comes in. Ravenous Intruder, you may not know what this does. It's a Tog. We don't have a Tog on Arena, we have a Tog with a different name on Arena. It's a 1/2, sacrifice an artifact, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn. So if we have a whole board of artifacts and we play the Ravenous Intruder, and next turn, or even this turn with Arena of Glory, we attack, they say no block, sack the whole board, kill them. Extra lethal with Temur Battle Rage. Temur Battle Rage also very nice with Kappa Cannoneer. You probably know what this one does, or at least more likely to know what this one does. If we have a whole bunch of artifacts, we play Kappa Cannoneer on turn 2, turn 3. This thing is impossible for them to kill. We'll just win the game by itself. Because we have so many artifacts, Thought Monitor becomes a very good card, so we're going to play it, even though Thought Monitor doesn't necessarily play into what we're trying to do with the deck, which is more of an aggro deck. This is more of kind of like a mid-range card advantage engine. Same with Emery. The only reason we're playing Emery is because we're trying to play a bunch of zeros, including Mox Amber. We would ideally like a legend to play Mox Amber with. Also kind of an affinity card. Literally an affinity card after the errata, so that's cool. In terms of grinding potential, we have Retrofitter Foundry, because we're playing Universal Automaton to turn on Mox Jasper. This is also top tier for the Retrofitter Foundry. We're playing the Ornithopter as a 0. Also a top tier for Retrofitter Foundry. Very nice to loop with Emery, so that's a very powerful late game. And yeah, this is about everything here. We've also got Power Depot as a new card. So I don't think this will be too good, but it has Modular 1. We can sack it to the Otog, put another counter on it, another artifact. I'm not too convinced it'll be all that great, but I have this. The artifact land, other nodes. We're trying to play as many mountains as possible. That's why we're playing Prismatic Vista for Sing Vents, make it so Arena Floor ideally would enter untapped. It's not too bad to play a turn 1 tap lane, though, because a lot of our stuff is going to be a turn 2 play. So yeah, this is the deck. Let's get on to the next one. Alright, I featured this kind of Magda Changelings archetype before on the channel. This is one of my pet decks. I believe I have not posted a gameplay video yet, but hopefully I can get some good gameplay once this set comes out. Okay, what is going on here? Well, Eldrazi Temple is a busted card. It is not pre-banned. It will be banned the next ban announcement because it's just almost a guaranteed mistake for this card to be unbanned. It makes me think the people managing the format don't even know what they're doing. So how can we maximize Eldrazi Temple in a unique shell? Say, not just a plain Eldrazi, boring, roll you over type deck. Well, what are some cheap Eldrazi's? Maybe we can do like an Eldrazi aggro with cheap Eldrazi's. What cheap Eldrazi's are there? Well, there's Changelings. What are Changelings good with? Mox Jasper, Ajani, Magda, Yuriko, Pyre of Heroes. Okay, sick. What else is good with Eldrazi Temple? Kozilek's Command. Are you sure we can cast Kozilek's Command? Almost every single rainbow land produces colorless. That's not going to be an issue. If we can play Kozilek's Command, this card is busted. That means it's broken. A Johnny, if we can play a Johnny, it'll be broken. Again, a Johnny, horribly broken card. Kozilek's Command, horribly broken card. Eldrazi Temple enables Kozilek's Command. Fire of Heroes, Retrofitter Foundry, also a horribly broken card. That kind of goes under the radar, triggers a Johnny. And what do I mean enables a Johnny? Well, Johnny wants cats to die. We have Retrofitter Foundry, which can sack a Thopter. All our Thopters are cats. We sack a Thopter, we sack a cat, we flip a Johnny. Sick. Fire of Heroes, very similar story. All these changelings are also fantastic with Magda, right? I mean, this is kind of the core of the deck. If Magda didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be playing something similar to this. Magda wants dwarves to be tapped. We've got 8 1-mana dwarves. We've got Master Vandal as a 2-mana dwarf. We've got 4 3-mana dwarves. And we've got a 4-mana dwarf. And what happens when we sacrifice 5 treasures? Well, we get Graz. Graz is basically a creator of Behemoth. So basically, get 5 treasures, get Magda, attack, win the game. That's kind of the game plan A for this deck. I cannot reiterate enough how broken Mox Jasper is with 8 1-mana changelings. If we can play this card, definitely want to play it. Another one of those, if you can enable it, it's broken type cards. So we've got this very compact, very interlocked, very, like, each card is dependent on each other card to function. There's a whole lot of redundancy for those dependencies. The engine is very powerful, very solid. Now that we can play Kozilek's Command, thanks to the Eldrazi Temple, it really shores up our long game. Say we can exile some nasty creatures. We've got a lot of interaction at this point now. We can also exile Graveyard's main deck, which is kind of important for Historic-ish. Yeah. We also make a whole bunch of Scions, right? We make a whole bunch of Scions, we can just hard cast Graz. Okay, there's a lot going on. I definitely didn't say everything that was going on. I guess one more thing to note, the reason we're playing 4 Faceless Agent, it's like, man, that's kind of an expensive card. Well, Eldrazi Temple asks for colorless Eldrazi spells, so we have to play colorless changelings to really maximize the temple. That's why I'm playing 4 of the agent. Okay. That's not the end of the tale, though. We gotta look at the mana base. There's some things going on in the mana base here. First card, the Station Lands, which everyone are convinced are terrible, are actually pretty darn good in Magda. It's a free tap outlet. We really want our changelings to be tapped for free. This is an insane enabler. It's an enabler on a land. I chose the blue one because we have a lot of artifacts. It's just the best aside from its mana or its color producing. But we've got enough rainbow lands to really, I don't think that'll be an issue. This card is, I believe it's going to be insane in this archetype. I really hope it is because it's awesome. We've also got Swarm Yard. Tap, regenerate an insect, rat, spider, or squirrel. Well, we have cards that are all of those. In these changelings, this is a source of infinite blockers. Our creatures can never die. They'd have to have a removal spell plus get us to use this. This is going to be very, very, very annoying for our opponents in the long game, or I guess especially against aggro decks that are trying to attack us. We have a blocker, infinite blocker. We've also got Reflecting Pool. Just a one of, because ideally we would want to make colors on the earliest turn as possible, not reliant on another rainbow land. But this is just a 5-color land, assuming we get down any of Starting Town, Spire of Industry, Cavern of Souls. Mutavault, Changeling, sick, sideboard, ignore that. That was a copy paste from the old times. I'm sure a lot of this could stay and it will be good, but make your own sideboard from scratch after this new meta. And with that, that'll be all 3. There are a whole bunch of cards that are very powerful for unique archetypes that I did not touch on. There's a lot of brute potential with this set. Again, very exciting. These are just 3 decks that I put together. Let me know what you think, and with that, I'll be done with the video. See you all later.